We live in a culture consumed by the need to optimize. Every waking hour is treated like a sponge we have to wring out to extract some drop of value or meaning. So we build systems to exert control over our days. We divide our tasks into urgent and non-urgent quadrants, we work in strict 25-minute Pomodoro intervals, and we fill our screens with meticulously color-coded calendars. The quadrant matrix comes from Dwight D. Eisenhower. It is a system designed to categorize tasks to agree by what is urgent and what is important, a rigid, military approach to daily life. But forcing our lives into these grids rarely delivers the fulfillment we are looking for. Instead, treating every single day like a logistical puzzle to be solved has driven an entire generation into a state of universal, inescapable burnout. The reason these tools eventually fail us comes down to a single reality. The very idea of time management is a myth. You cannot actually manage time. It is a physical constant. It flows at a relentless, unyielding rate of exactly 86,400 seconds every single day. As Albert Einstein's work demonstrated, unless you happen to be traveling near the speed of light or sitting inside a massive gravity well, the flow of time is completely outside of your control. The breakdown happens when we try to force unpredictable, qualitative human experiences, things like grief, deep love, or a sudden flash of creativity, into this strictly quantitative, rigid framework. So when a creative project refuses to materialize perfectly on a scheduled Tuesday at 2 p.m., it is not because you lack willpower. You are simply using a quantitative tool to try and solve a qualitative problem. The ancient Greeks understood this friction. They didn't try to force all of human experience into a single definition. Instead, they relied on two entirely separate concepts to describe time. The first concept is chronos, or clock time. It is the literal, measurable march of seconds and minutes ticking away in a predictable line. Chronos governs physical reality. It drives entropy, makes us older, and dictates the schedule-driven existence of modern work. And chronos is highly useful. It's the necessary mental space we need to pay our bills, organize a project outline, and clear out the clutter of daily life. But chronos itself is also completely blind. It can perfectly measure how long a task takes to finish, but it is entirely incapable of telling you whether that task meant anything at all. To account for meaning, flow, and the unexpected, the Greeks used their second concept of time. They called it kairos. Kairos cannot be measured on a calendar. Often described as the right time, it represents qualitative moments that occur exactly when they are supposed to. Where chronos is active and rigid, kairos is passive. It exists beyond the strict rules of cause and effect, flowing at an organic, unpredictable pace. This disconnect is the exact source of our modern anxiety. We spend our days aggressively applying the strict rules of chronos to situations that strictly require the patience of kairos. You cannot pencil in serendipity for Thursday afternoon, and you cannot force a person or a complex idea to mature before the conditions are naturally right. Resolving this tension requires a concept called imbrication. It means deliberately overlapping these opposing views of reality. Half of any real achievement is the literal act of doing. That is chronos, the active, structured execution of the physical work. But the other half of achievement requires the act of not doing. It requires stepping back, surrendering the schedule, and letting kairos take over. Think of chronos as building a trellis. You set the schedule and put in the labor to construct a strong foundation. But once built, your job changes. You step away and wait for the vine to climb at its own pace. Relying entirely on chronos leaves you with nothing but empty busyness. True achievement comes from the wisdom of knowing exactly when to build the structure and exactly when to let go. When you apply this back to your daily life, the friction you feel trying to stay productive starts to make sense. The philosopher Aristotle observed that excellence is not an isolated act of raw effort. It is a habit formed by repeated right action. The most effective productivity strategy isn't finding a better way to slice up your time. It's simply simplifying the choice immediately in front of you. When you find yourself paralyzed, caught between the urge to force an outcome and the need to wait, a new app won't save you. You have to learn how to read the moment. The answer is reducing your burden. Stop trying to optimize the year and focus entirely on doing the next right thing. And a great paradox of all this productivity is that sometimes the most profound, most productive next right thing you can do is nothing at all.